on the road this morning. I'm joined by two gentlemen to help us understand the essence of this year's commemoration, which is today, the Global Day for Hand Washing. This year we're told that it's hygiene for all, I mean you and I. So I want to understand exactly what the issues are, and going forward what we should be learning about, not just the commemoration itself, but how that hand washing in particular should be a culture for all of us. Let me begin from my immediate left. Is Moses Abuko, is Commissioner for Water Resources in Edo State. Commissioner, it's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And next to him is Frank Nenemo. He is the Chief Environmental Health Officer, Edo State Ministry of Health, a regular on many of our health programs here, both on radio and television. Thank you for joining us on the program.
It's my delight to be here.
Yeah, I feel the excitement, but we're going to make that rub off as the show progresses this morning. But I'd love to start with the Commissioner. People are being asked to wash their hands, which is normal across the world. But in Nigeria, for example, we're particularly dealing with availability or otherwise of potable water. And these days you see people sinking borehole all over the place. That's the conversation for another day, I guess, because most times these boreholes are not even regulated in the first instance. So what are we dealing with regarding the challenge of having access to potable water for sanitary purposes?
Well, thank you very much. I think first and foremost, let me state that October 15th is a day set aside globally for advocacy, to generate and to create awareness about the importance of hand hygiene in the transmission of infectious disease.
Right.
And I think that the current COVID-19 has underscored the importance of having our hands washed constantly and on a regular basis. As to the issue of availability of water in order to be able to effectively carry on this exercise, this all-important exercise, I want to say that for us in Edo State here, as a ministry under the administration of Governor Godwin Obaseki, so much has been done in order to provide not just potable water, but accessible water and affordable water to the people of Edo State. Last year, in this same program, I did inform our Edo State people that it's just that our governor is not a noisemaker. But suffice to say that so much has been done in the water sector. The whole idea was that white people do not actually tend to see what is being done in the water sector, is that Mr. Governor, as a visionary leader and governor, directed that the emphasis should be in the rural area, where you could have a community who may not be privileged to have influential sons and daughters who might even sink a borehole for them. Those are the people who are more in need of these water facilities. And that is why when this administration came on board, I can say very emphatically, in fact, I'm going to drop you a copy of the Obaseki legacies in the water sector of all the water projects that have been over 100.
Across the state?
Yes. Now, knowing fully well that government finances might not be able to handle all the water problem, we decided to go on 5 local governments as the pilot local governments. And I know that thanks to the Edo people who have actually entrusted Mr. Governor with another 4 years again, we will now scale up such that in the next 4 years, now that we have done so much in the rural area, gradually things are, the idea will now be to come to the urban sector, where we'll begin to see public taps flowing again.
I think people can't wait to see that. I mean, I'm a young man, for example. I grew up in this Benin with homes having public taps, and people could, I mean, they could relate with what water board actually meant then. But again, the conversation has changed in the last, 20, maybe 15 years or something. So the Commissioner is saying that we are returning to that same point where homes can have potable water, they will have taps, running water in their homes. Well, let me turn to Frank quickly now. People talk about washing hands, the benefits of washing hands and so on and so forth. Some persons feel, well, they are too busy to wash hands, and some just wash anyhow. Is there a pattern for washing your hands, and what are the benefits attached to it?
Okay, let me start by saying, or starting with the common aphorism. You know, in everyday pedestrian language, he who seeks equity should come with clean hands.
Right.
Your health is your responsibility. cleanliness is said to be next to godliness.
Right.
And health is wealth. Having said that, to situate and prepare the stage for this discussion, hand washing, as common as people may commonize it, is very critical and crucial when you talk about health enhancing behavior, health promotion behavior, and health maintenance behavior. Okay? Now, it could be very hazardous, just like the commissioner said earlier, when you fail to imbibe the culture and the orientation of washing hands regularly. That's why this young team is quite apt in the face of COVID-19 that hand hygiene for all. Commissioner said earlier, regular hand washing will help in interrupting the pathway of the route of transmission of most diseases, particularly with enteric diseases, gastrointestinal diseases, waterborne diseases, water-related diseases, water-based diseases, water-impounding diseases. Okay? And then it can also help to prevent fecal-oral transmission of these diseases that can be very deadly and hazardous. And most recently, in the face of COVID-19, the hand washing activity has again been emphasized. We also remember during the time of Ebola, the issue of hand washing again was also re-emphasized, that people should imbibe that culture. So this year's celebration is to further commemorate and instill the culture and orientation into the people that if we must have good health, if we must promote good health, if we must enhance our health practices, then we must imbibe the culture of hand washing. And not just hand washing, regular hand washing, and, you know, following all the steps.
Incidentally, I think the beauty of this discussion is you are going to be demonstrating all of those steps for us. But I was going to ask a question before I return to the commissioner. Okay. Do we have to be jolted by things like Ebola, for example, or COVID-19 as we know it now, for us to realize the importance and significance of washing our hands?
That is the essence of this hygiene education we are doing now, sanitation education we are doing now. Don't forget that your health or our health is our responsibility.
Okay.
Life does not owe us health, just as it does not owe us wealth. You know, nor does it come as a matter of opportunity. You must earn it, you must live it. And this practice of health enhancing, health promotion, and health maintenance behavior should become part of our orientation and part of our psyche. Right. Not only when there is outbreak of any epidemic or pandemic situation that we will start. It should be a part of our orientation. It should be part of our daily existence, part of our living, so that we continue to live well, we're going to live good health, and we'll continue to promote and live healthily and fulfill our dreams.
While you're talking, I'm just in excitement looking forward to that point where you would help us demonstrate the proper way to wash our hands, which most of us obviously don't know. We're going to take a break quick so you can do that for us. But I want to talk to the commissioner a bit more. I was making reference to water boards just a while ago. We've heard successive governments in this state in particular talk about the issue of water, how the water board will be revamped, and so on and so forth. But I want to ask you something that has seen a bit of controversies, the issue of the Water Resources Bill, which has been sent to the National Assembly. When you heard about that bill, as somebody who is a stakeholder in the water industry, as it were, what were your sentiments?
Well, there are a lot of, like you rightly said, there are a lot of controversies as regards to the water bill. By and large, it has to still do with resource control. Right. The bill is proposing that the federal government take over the waterways. And the states are resisting that, saying that in the spirit of natural justice, every state is entitled to control what is it's naturally endowed to them. That if the federal government, as the bill is presently presented to the National Assembly, but we do know that the National Assembly also have the responsibility of moderating and maybe those contentious issues will be addressed and
maybe through public hearing.
Yes, there are good aspects of the water bill, no doubt, but at the same time, people naturally will want to resist any attempt to take away from them what they feel is naturally theirs. That is the controversy about it. And you recall that the last Senate before this one, they actually threw out that big completely. They don't even entertain any public hearing on it because of the public outcry, which is also still the situation now. So for me, it is my hope that our representatives in the National Assembly should be able to sit down, look at it thoroughly, and those contentious clauses in the bill that has to do with the sensitivity of the states should be addressed in a manner that will favor the state. Because right now, as we speak, people believe that the center is overloaded, as it were, and more powers and more resources needs to be pushed to the state level. So it is my hope and belief that since the bill is reintroduced in the National Assembly, and the National Assembly representative should be able to listen to the hue and cry of the public and do the needful.
Before we take a break to bring Frank in for his demonstration, I just want to ask you one more question. You talked about how that this government under Godwin Obaseki, for example, has done a lot to change the narrative about water and access to it, which is of course vital to life. What are the specific areas where Edo people are now heaving a self-relief as far as access to water is concerned, beyond the fact that individuals are now personally responsible for sinking boreholes in their homes and businesses?
Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, that this government decided, because of course government cannot take the entire state at a go because of lack of funds, decided to use 5 local governments as a pilot local government across the 3 senatorial districts. For instance, you have Itako West there, you have Owan West in that among the 5, you have Orion, you have Homunde, and you have Ovia Southwest. These 5 local governments are the local governments, and like I told you before, Mr. Governor, as a visionary leader, decided that we must concentrate more in the rural areas.
As against the urban?
Yes, because in the urban city, almost every house they all have their own private borehole, which of course might not actually be too heavy for the environment as it were. It's just that we are very fortunate in this part of the world where we are not easily prone to earthquake and other natural disasters. Otherwise, but I can assure you that it's also a concern to us, the proliferation of boreholes. But how do you stop people from seeking their own private borehole when you have not made an alternative arrangement for them? And that is why I know very well that the next 4 years of Governor Obaseki's administration, emphasis will not be to come to the urban. I tell you this, in Edo Central, our star project there, which is the Urumi Uboka water project, where we have over 82 kilometer reticulated water, is completed now. 2 days back, I was with the management of the BDC in order for us to sign the power purchase agreement, which is what is remaining for that project.
To take off?
To take off. With diesel, we can pour with people, everybody in that environment, they get water up to their streets. And in order to sustain this project, the governor has also acquired 5,000 prepaid meters, water meters, which we have taken delivery of. And that will be the next stage now, where individuals will now have the opportunity to get these meters and connect water to their private homes. The era of water being a free commodity is past gone, just like your electricity. Because if these things must be sustained, if they must be long-lasting, then we must also put mechanisms, we must also put in place certain structures that will ensure that these things are maintained. But
I'm very sure people have never really had a problem, for the most part, paying for water, because I know people used to get bills from water board and so on and so forth. So we are hoping, just based on what the commissioner has told us now, going forward, we're able to put all of these things in place early enough, and then people have unhindered access to water again for the longer term. We're going to take a quick break now. Frank Inenomo is going to teach us in practical ways the proper ways to wash your hands, not just to fetch water, one hand against the other hand, and then you think you've washed your hands. There's a way, there's a method for washing your hands. And Frank is going to help us do the honors. We'll take a quick break now. We're back shortly.
TMI, every opinion counts.
Okay, let's just say we're returning to class now. I mean, the primary school scenario, for example, where there's a bucket of water just by the entrance to the class, and then you're mandated by your teachers to ensure you wash your hands every time you go outside, regardless of what you've gone outside to do. So Frank in Enemo is doing us that honor right now.
Yes, let me, before starting the demonstration proper, the theme for this year celebration is hand washing for all.
Okay.
So hand hygiene for all. And I want to remind the viewers out there that there's also a spiritual dimension to this. You find out that many religious, even scriptural books, up to the Quran and Bible, from Deuteronomy to Leviticus, Quran, if you want to appear before God for prayers and all that, hand washing, cleaning and all that is emphasized. The only where I differ is that the rule of hygiene says there should be no handling of fresh feces. Okay. But that should be a topic for another day.
Okay.
Then having said that, I want everybody to know that most times we just wet our hands without going through the rudiments of the procedure for hand washing. There are about 10 steps to be followed, and I want viewers to follow me. At each stage, I will now be counting. By the grace of God, we will arrive at the destination of 10 steps, and then we'll now know whether we have really been washing our hands or we have been wetting our hands. Now, the first step is this. You must have not a tablet soap, but a liquid soap. That liquid soap must be backed up with your running tap or running water, not just a stagnant water on a bowl. So I'm going to wet my hand now with this liquid soap, both hands, and then you start like this. Start like this. Start like this, and then that's step 1. You come again, step 2. Step 2. On both hands. Step 2. Then you come again, step 3. On both hands, step 3, step 3. Then step 4, if the soap is getting dry, you wet your hands again. Step 4 again, you come to the web of your fingers. The web.
In between.
In between, the web, okay, in between. Again, this should be step 4 now, if I'm not mistaken. Then you come to each of the fingers. Again, you do this to both hands.
All 10 fingers.
All 10 fingers, yes. To both hands. Then you come again. You do it like this. Do it like that. I think I should be on the 7th step now. On both hands again, you do like this. On both hands again, you do like this. On both hands again, you do like this. And then you remember your wrist, because that wrist is a haven for most of the pathogenic organisms. Okay. Organisms that are capable of...
So you have to extend to your wrist?
Yes, you have to extend to your wrist. It's very critical, because this wrist is a haven for pathogenic organisms. Organisms that are capable of transmitting diseases. Okay. And again, the soap content of this is able to dissolve the RNA and DNA properties of whatever microorganism you don't see with your ordinary eyes. It dissolves them and renders them inactive and renders them impotent. Okay. That is why it is highly, highly emphasized that you must use soap. Okay. And then by the time you now, at the end of the day, wash, you are in for a better deal. You see that you would have come up.
We are rinsing now.
Yes, you are rinsing, which is the last step. Okay. If I should count with me, I would have gone about 10 or 11 steps already. In the process already. The process. But ensure that you do it up to your wrist. and ensure that
for proper rinsing.
Yes, it is never and never tablet soap. It must be
liquid soap.
Liquid soap. And I'm sure by the time you can see my hands are, then you now dry clean with, there's this technology now, which you can use your hand, you just connect it to a light and the electricity, and it will just fan and dry up the distance, and you are better. And you do this, it is not less than 20 seconds. You're done. You are done, not less than 20
somebody
seconds.
said if you're not comfortable counting seconds, you can sing the happy birthday song to yourself twice.
Good.
By the time you do it twice, you would have been able to go around.
And it should be as regular as possible. As regular as possible, intermittently.
No limit as to how many times.
And it is for everybody. For everybody. The bankers who count notes, the market people, you know, we do a lot of touchy and shaking of hands and all that.
We have to bring
and
all
also
of that into
it will help also to protect us.
Frank and Nenemo, we can't thank you enough for this expert angle that you've brought into the conversation this morning. I mean, we just thought that beyond bringing Commissioner Frank and Nenemo here to talk about today's this year's commemoration of Global Hand Washing Day, we also should look at the practical steps we must take when we need to wash our hands. Don't forget, if you can't do 20 seconds, I mean, we all have birthdays. Sing the happy birthday song to yourself. By the time you do it 2 seconds, I'm sure you would have done an excellent work washing your hands up to your wrist. So I'd like to thank especially Commissioner for Water Resources Edo State, Moses Agwoko, for taking your time, even though you have a busy schedule, to be here with us this morning. Frank Nenemo is Chief Environmental Health Officer, Edo State Ministry of Health. Thank you also for coming to share with us from your wealth of experience and expertise this morning. Remember, the idea is wash your hands every day, no limit to the number of times you do that. The word is regularly. Okay, we're taking a quick break at this point. We want to look at constitutional amendments and the efforts currently being made to ensure that we tweak that very important document as much as we can. Stay with us.